Aaron, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Where are you now?
I'm outside in Nashville, Tennessee. It was around like 2008 things started getting shaken up in California as far as like the smaller galleries started closing. There was a lot of that started happening. So I was just ready to sort of for a change, I guess.
I was noticing that shutdown of galleries, obviously as well. Like Drew and Brian and I would go visit some, and then like next month they'd be like closed. It's like we were just
Yeah.
getting to know all these places, and then a lot of them were dropping off the map. Have they like reassembled elsewhere, or is that model just kind of fizzling?
I think the cost of having brick and mortar in California, and it was sort of started by a lot of people that didn't have a lot of money that rented in sort of undesirable areas now are apartments and lofts, and yeah. So I went to Japan a few years ago with somebody that had a gallery in Long Beach, and we talked about it a lot, and they just said, they wanted to make the art affordable. And that's always been my ethos too with my artwork, is trying to put it in the hands of people that don't really usually buy art to have original work. And it just wasn't something that stuck around, unfortunately. I think there's some pop-up type galleries, but yeah, I haven't really. I've done a few skateboard shows and stuff since then, but mostly I just do internet related stuff. I miss those times though. I love those shows.
Just the community aspect of it, and
Yeah.
seeing your comrades,
Yeah.
from parts of the city or different parts of the state. Yeah, I can imagine that. But Nashville's pretty lively, but in a different way.
It's a completely different scene. A lot of the artists that I've met out here do it to like make their parents mad more than make or maybe it's people I ran into. So yeah, I sort of just like, I don't know. I just retreated into my own thing. And yeah, if I had to go back to myself in 2008 and be like, oh, you're going to make art for 12 years in a windowless subterranean lair where, and the whole world's going to be closed down for a pandemic, but it doesn't even affect me because I'm at home all the time anyway. And you have the hardest time doing something that's always come natural to you, like making friends. At it. I was like, okay, like let's do it. So yeah, it's been weird for me because I was always out. Like I would go out and like pull stuff out of the trash in California and make art out of it. And I would make like 4 paintings or 5 paintings a week, just all day long, just making stuff and sell like 3 of them by Friday. And I was doing work with like Billabong and Etnies, and then I moved here, and I've still done like I did some work for a Fortnite, that like video game, which I didn't even know what it was when they asked me about it.
My son Rowan is obsessed with Fortnite. He's 8 now. What did you do? I got to tell him.
So they have these like loading screens, and they get various artists to do the loading screens. I got an email from Epic, and they just said like, we were looking at your art, and we were wondering if you'd be interested. And I said, yeah, sure, like send me some images. And I told a few friends that have children, and they're like, there's no way you don't know what this game is. I'm like, I just don't really follow current games. Like the stuff I'm playing mostly is like arcade oriented. So it was fun. They were really, really cool. I did the paintings. Actually, I'll show you one of them. Hold on.
Yes, please.
So here is okay.
Oh yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
so the painting is actually 16 inches by 9 inches, which is the same aspect ratio. I just went and cut wood. Also, I finger paint most of my art and like use utensils. I don't use brushes, but when I went to make these, I was like at the line at this art supply place, like with paint, and then I looked down and there was like a bag of brushes for kids for like $3. And I'm like, I might need those. So I grabbed them. And that's what I did. Like, that's what I did it with. Like, just I did 3 different paintings. I did this. I did one for Christmas, and I did one of a different character called Bright Bombers. Yeah, they were really stoked. I think every month I just feel like I'm going to make art, and if people buy it, that's great. I'm just sort of like on my journey of making artwork. I'm not a millionaire, I guess is what I'm going to say, but I'm really grateful for,
getting to do what you love.
How have you guys noticed, like with your artists? I see some reoccurring artists, obviously Kaya Koopman, who's great. But have you noticed that some people that used to do art aren't making art anymore?
That's a great question. No, folks that we have been working with since like the days that you and I started working together, they still at it for the most part. Commitments of the artist in the scene now, it seems different, like with like collectible culture. Maybe you want to.
Yeah, as far as like artists and how they spend their time goes, everything is always very reliant on a launch or a drop, and requires most of our artists that have been doing this for a really long time to be very, very active and very, very present in what they're doing. So you find that many of them will have like 8 projects going on that all require their physical presence, whether it be signing things for a limited edition drop, or actually physically packaging their things in order to be shipped for another different limited edition drop, and painting things by hand for a very specific exhibit, things like that. Is kind of tends to be how it goes. So just populating your entire weekly, monthly, yearly schedule with various launches, drops of limited edition stuff is how it goes now, it would seem.
Yeah. I've just been like, I'll take a picture of this thing, and I really like drawing it, and that's sort of it. Yeah, that's really good feedback, because I think that things, when you're just creating all the time, you're like, for me, I mean, I do every aspect of my business, but I don't get a lot of feedback from people. And even when I sell work, like, I know they liked it if they bought more of it, or if they give me a like online, and they sort of will like cluster the likes in a clump, but I don't really know unless I ask, I guess, someone that's been doing it like you guys. Because I sort of have no idea what's going on. Stuff, and people would say, I haven't even seen your art in like 2 years. And I'm like, I do stuff every week. I try to make 2 completed pieces, whether it be drawings and paintings or something like that. But then I also do blocks, like where I just draw on small blocks, like
I know, they're adorable.
So this block is the size of a cigarette pack, and it goes into a converted cigarette machine. I've been doing it for 20 years.
The Artemat blocks.
Right.
The Artemat, I've seen those machines around,
Yeah, so every block they're all drawn. Like I paint, like I'll get a box of 200, I paint them a color. Usually it's blue, because I like that robin's egg color. And I'll like sit and draw them. But I did 200 blocks last week, and I'll do them like once every couple of months. But the amount of work I'm doing is like, it's a massive amount of work, but also I don't share a lot of it. I use it as a way to like practice and get better at illustrating. I mean, you can see just by looking at this, like it's a lot of detail and trying, like challenging myself with different things, drawing vehicles like the motorcycle and that kind of stuff. I really dig making stuff that makes people happy. So as long as even if it's not rewarded in funds, just the fact that I can make a block and somebody buys it out of a machine and they have it and they just like it. I'm doing my part to like create something that it doesn't have a negative message. It's positive. Hope maybe somebody will be inspired to draw themselves. You know, I'm 48. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. I've been doing it professionally since 99, on top of also working other jobs. But the NFT thing, I know since you brought it up, totally freaked me out a little bit, because some people were like, you need to take everything you have. And I'm like, this seems a little sketchy. Yeah. And so I did do artwork for an online game, and it was through a friend that I worked with. And they paid me like a regular art job, so it was fine. Told me ahead of time, like, we're going to make these NFTs. You also get like a little bit of money from these NFTs. And I'm like, okay, let's try it and see. Yeah. So like I got paid in some sort of digital money. I don't know. Like I got paid with regular money for the art, but then I got beep boop beep money. I don't know what it is. Like it's all like
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all like meow meow meow. And I'm like, oh, I can't go buy a burrito. I don't know, maybe I can buy a meow meow burrito. I don't know. Like I did all this stuff. Yeah. And then right after I did it, they were like, let's just give an example. You have $10. And then like a day later, it's like, you have 50 cents.
So this is like microfiche from a library that you look up old magazines and stuff with.
Yeah. From a Bond movie, you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And then my friend got a tattoo, and this is like gauze from it. You can still see the heart.
No. That's not fair.
Yeah, I think it's rad.
I love that.
I've got like all this junk. You might recognize this one.
I do, Buzz Girl. Wow. There she is. Thank you for showing. That's perfect.
Yeah, look how big it is. It's really big.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. I like the pink tone in that.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it's so big.
Oh wow.
I'll make it really quick, but one of my friends that is really into like he's really into Apple products, and like he did audio for the games we were working on at the studio. He's the one that told me about you guys. He's like, oh, there's this place and they're making these skins, like they're looking for artists. And I remember you guys were super easy to deal with, like real friendly. I was just like, I'm an artist, like I want to get some art. And I'm like, how much will you give me? And you're like, nothing. We'll pay you like every time it sells. I'm like, that sounds awesome. Here's the high rent. Like, yeah, it was really, really like just, okay, yeah, you want to do it? Like, let's do it. Yeah.
We're still like that. We've just, I think, took too many risks with the business, and so it's a lot smaller than it grew to back in the around 2010, 12 kind of era. But I'm trying to lick my wounds a bit and try and get back. And I'm glad that you're still along for the ride and try and rebuild together.
Yeah, I think that it's almost like, I feel that I used to feel that way a lot. Like, you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, maybe like I'm not relevant, but I also feel like the climate of business has changed so rapidly that it was unexpected, right? Because I think in an older model, it wouldn't have affected you in such a drastic way. I feel like there's so much talent, I get lost in it. When I first started, like my first web presence, we're talking about 2002, 2001.
Yeah.
Like, and my website, even though it hasn't changed much, it's just really basic.
Yeah.
But like younger people want more. Like, well, why doesn't it animate? Or why doesn't it? Or why?
Yeah.
And what have you done today? And I'm like, I went down to the basement and I got my hands dirty. I know with the Tape Op magazine that just came out, I had a bunch of guys on the synthesizer forum say, oh, that's really 2003, dude. And I'm like, well, you know, like, that's okay. Like, I'm retro, right? Like, I'm retro. That's all right. Fine. So I think like there's room for all of us, but I know a lot of artists that don't make any art anymore. They feel like it's attacked them personally. Like I don't get like I have a friend that worked for Image Comic Books, and he had a lot of success, but then that like comic book boom in the 90s went up and then went down like huge. But now, you know, you see all these comic book movies are successful.
Marvel.
But a lot of these guys are still struggling to find their place, I think, in this environment.
Yeah.
So I won't go on and on. I could talk forever, but
That's to be continued, because I share those feelings where it's like, okay, well, you're so invested in something, it's too late to change, or but I don't want to change, and you know.
I don't think you have to. It's just finding a place in the wave, you
Yeah.
know, and
The right share it.
That's a good note.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. It was great talking to you guys, and have a good day.
Thanks so much, Aaron.
Of course.
Talk to you soon.